From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Amarachi Ubani.
Good evening and welcome tonight. A federal high court in Kano holds suspension of All Progressives Congress National Chairman, Mr. Adams Oshiomhole, as members of the party in Edo State. APC National Chairman breaks his silence on court injunction affirming his suspension from the party, says Abuja court acted without considering the facts. The Independent National Electoral Commission pushes for legislation to make full deployment of technology in the conduct of future elections in Nigeria. And 18 states in the United States confirm coronavirus cases as California declares a state of emergency after announcing its first COVID-19 death. Plus business, sports, and news from Abuja, the FCT, and later international news from our London studios.
On business news tonight, OPEC agrees to cut oil output by an extra 1.5 million barrels per day in the second quarter of 2020 to support prices that have been hit by the coronavirus outbreak.
And on sports news tonight, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, lists Nigeria amongst the countries with the highest doping risk less than 5 months to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics.
And from the nation's capital, governors of South states meet in Asaba, the Delta State capital, resolved to establish security outfit to tackle insecurity in the zone.
The leadership battle in the All Progressives Congress, the APC, is becoming more intense and somewhat interesting as parties involved are adopting legal options now, more than ever, before to settle scores. Today, a federal high court sitting in Kano issued an order that all parties involved in the suit challenging the suspension of the APC national chairman, Mr. Adams Oshiomhole, by his council ward in Edo State should maintain status quo pending the hearing of the motion on notice. Justice Lewis Alagua, upon hearing the ex parte motion, ruled that the Independent National Electoral Commission should refrain from communicating, dealing, or recognizing any person other than Mr. Oshiomhole as the national chairman of the APC for any dealings or business pending the hearing of the motion on notice before him. The court also ordered that all defendants in the suit shall enter appearance and file their processes in defense of the suit. The defendants in the suit are the APC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mr. Oshiomhole, the police, and the DG of the DSS. The court is adjourned till April 8th for hearing on the matter. Yesterday, an Abuja High Court granted a separate interlocutory order stopping Mr. Oshiomhole from parading himself as the national chairman of the APC, pending the hearing and determination of a suit filed by the national vice chairman of the party in the Northeast, Mr. Mustafa Saliu, and 5 others. Mr. Saliu had asked the court to grant his application since Mr. Oshiomhole had been suspended by this party in his council ward in Edo State. Meanwhile, Mr. Oshiomhole has filed an appeal for a stay of execution on the order. Apart from filing an order for a stay of execution on Wednesday's interlocutory injunction, the embattled APC chairman is also picking holes in the order of the Abuja High Court that pronounced his suspension. Mr. Oshiomhole spoke to State House correspondents after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in Aso Rock, Abuja.
The document that we have says clearly that my word passed vote of confidence on me. How the court can uphold vote of confidence and twist it to me vote of no confidence, only that judge can explain it to himself. But the good news is that this is not a final court, nor is it the only court. Incidentally, it is just the court that didn't have the jurisdiction even to listen to this matter. And our lawyers so ported it out. But the judge was determined to oblige those who want to destabilize the All Progressive Congress. I am not an officer of my word. I am the national chairman of a national party elected at a national convention by over 7,000 delegates. So how could 9 persons sit down somewhere and purport that they have removed a national chairman? And the court, contrary to all logic, all judicial precedent, find comfort in granting an interim interlocutory order to stop me from functioning pending when the matter is determined. In other words, he has given the order without the facts being laid before him. And in the process, I joined the case to 7th of April. The calculations are clear that between now and April 7, my opponents in the system would have had ample time to do all the mischievous plans they have in place to destabilize the APC, because some of them have membership of more than one political party. But happily this afternoon, a federal high court that I believe has jurisdiction on federal issues, because the DSS, the police, is not a state institution, it's a federal institution. A federal high court gave an appropriate order to restrain the so-called suspension that was allegedly imposed on me by my ward in Edo State.
Mr. Oshiomhole seems to be fighting many battles within his All Progressives Congress, yet the former Labour leader and 2-time governor of Edo State seems not shaken about them and is not ready to give up just yet. His current travail may be an indication of what to expect from the party ahead of the 2023 elections. There are, however, other hurdles for him to cross. Our political correspondent, Oshiomhole, chronicles his many battles to save his seat.
I, Comrade Adams Aliu Oshiomhole.
June the 23rd, 2018, Adams Oshiomhole emerged as the national chairman of the APC at the party's national convention in Abuja.
Bear true allegiance to the All Progressive Congress,
Taking over from his kinsman, Chief John Oyegun, the first substantive national chairman of the APC. It was not difficult to know the leadership style of the former Labour Union leader and 2-time governor of Edo State.
I remain a friend to these governors. I respect them. I appreciate them. I even appreciate them for the fact that, but for their support, I will not be chairman. And you do not go stepping on toes of those who supported you to get to a position.
About a year after assuming office, Mr. Oshiomhole led the APC into a general election, with his party emerging winner in the presidential election, but with major crises in states like Zamfara and Rivers State. Not long afterwards, things fell apart between himself and his successor in Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki. The crisis in the House of Assembly there and the leadership of the APC in Edo State chapter became very notorious. The root cause of the court order was a crisis in his home state, where he said to have been suspended. Soon, the crisis reached the nation's capital. Protests rocked the APC office.
Since he came into this office, he has been creating problems for this party. We will suffer to win election. At the end of the day, opposition will go to court and collect the leadership from us.
And counter-protests too.
If today you are hearing the say some persons are saying they want him removed, I don't know why they want him removed. Why? Is it because you are fighting for 2023 that is not even yet around the corner? This is just 7 months into this very second term of the president.
His home state has been the theater of the crisis, and the BC Akande Reconciliation Committee may not have his work cut out for it. Oshiomhole, Channels Television News.
Let's examine this issue further. We've been joined on the news at 10 by legal practitioner Mr. Kayode Ajulo. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Mr. Ajulo, thank you for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
I'm sure you want to dive into the conversation. How would you explain today's injunction vis-a-vis yesterday's injunction obtained from the court in Abuja, given that both courts have coordinate jurisdiction?
Well, with respect to the court in Kano, that's Federal High Court in Kano, it is absolute absurdity. It is something that I believe by now we should not be entertaining that, but unfortunately, this is what we've been thrown to the public. The courts, particularly Court of Coordinate Jurisdiction, know what it was supposed to be, and the report alone is a little bit funny in the sense that how can the same court that has the same power, one can override another, one can suspend another? It sounds very funny, and I believe very soon the judge himself, I believe, he needs to have some explanation to give to the National Judicial Council to do that. It is so clear. It is a position of law. And I believe there's no way the judge will say he is not aware of what happened in Abuja yesterday when a court, and this is not even an interim injunction, this is an interlocutory injunction where two parties were given the opportunity to address the court, and at the end of the day, the court, this is a considered judgment and the ruling, and the court has already done. For any courts to now asking different question and throwing another one to it, and I believe if politicians should be allowed to play their game, but I think they should not use courts to do such kind of things.
And the order of the Kano court at the end of the day is that the parties should maintain status quo antebellum. Is it correct to say here that this then invalidates yesterday's order by the court in Abuja?
Like that's why I said it's funny, because if actually it is only that they should maintain status quo antebellum, then the question we should ask is this: as it is now, what is status quo? The status quo as it is what the court has said yesterday. It's so clear that the court has ruled that Oshiomhole should be suspended and should not act as the party chairman. And if any court should now talk about status quo should be maintained, the status quo still remain. Mind you, he has the right to appeal, which he said he has done. But one thing that matters most is that where is the stay? That one is discretionary, and then no court is yet to stay that judgment. And that when I mention court, I'm talking of Court of Appeal. That is the higher court has not been able to do that. It shouldn't be a court of coordinate jurisdiction that should be asked to do what is not even allowed.
What then should be the way forward?
The way forward is so simple. The constitution of the party is so clear that whenever there's a vacancy, particularly in the position of the chairman, the deputy chairman that comes from the same geographical location of that chairman should take over. And that's what it is. The constitution of the party envisages a situation like this, and I don't really need why we need to really cause a big problem. And as it is, right from the beginning, you need to know the judgment, the ruling of the lower court in Abuja. He raised the issue that from the time he has been suspended, he remains suspended, and it's as it is. The question that we should be asking ourselves is this: if the chairman still insists that he needs to be there, then one day it will be so clear that the party may even be going under, because as it is, any act, any action taken or decision with this suspended chairman goes to no issue. Anybody can come tomorrow, opposition party can come tomorrow to call for questioning on that, and you know what our court will do. Our court is very jealous of when it comes to disobeying its court order. You may not know what may happen. Most of the time when the party has lost, you will notice that it is from the total disregard to court order. But at the higher up there, the court will always do the right thing to remind them that, look, you have faulted the order. As it is now, it's so clear. What happened in Ojukwu and the governor of Lagos State is so clear. When the court has given an order, it is for you to obey. Even if you need to appeal, you need to obey first, then before you start thinking of appeal. You can't be blowing out and code. And I believe this is what the APC need to advise themselves to do what is needful in this circumstance, and allow the whole thing to move on. It is the position of the chairman.
We may not know what may happen at the end of the day. If the court say he should go back, not that he should impose himself and insist that he needs to be there. I'm sure our courts, our judges are looking, and at the right time, they will speak again.
What a position for the courts to be in with the ruling party. Thank you again, Mr. Kayode Ajulo, for joining us on the News at 10.
Thank you.
In part two, after the break, governors of South states resolve to establish security outfits to tackle insecurity in the zone as their counterparts in Northeast to hold a consultative meeting to pave the way for regional solutions to common challenges. Please join us again.